A lot of things happen in those 5 seconds you just witnessed. For example, the company Amazon just made around $20,000. Everyone in the world watched about 60,000 hours of Netflix combined. 115 Uber rides were requested. Almost 5 planes took off. You created around 10 million red blood cells. Earth traveled 150 kilometers around the sun. 12 cars were sold. But also, for better or for worse, 43 people in the world crossed the border. 43 people went from one country to another in search of a better life, in search of protection or refuge. That's right, in 5 seconds, 43 people in the world migrated. There are currently around 270 million migrants in the world per year, and 60 million of them are illegal. This is equivalent to the total population of Russia and Mexico migrating. But have you ever really wondered what would you do if you were suddenly born in a troubled place with a dictatorship in which you are repressed and taken against your will? You imagine that your parents despise you and that they do not tolerate you. You imagine that you have to leave your house at an early age and that you have children from a very young age. That you get the humblest job and that it is not enough to support any of your children, and that you have to move from one place to another up to 4 times because you do not have the economic or political capacity to cross your family in a forced or illegal way. Well, let me tell you that this is the life of Antonio, a migrant who was born in a troubled area of the border of Guatemala, with his father despising him and with a family to support, and for this he had to migrate to California without his daughters and only with his wife. But later he had to return after learning that his daughters were being mistreated by his uncle. In this story, we can see how clearly people migrate out of necessity and poverty. We can see how in this case, world powers like the United States can be the salvation of many people and their families. Surprisingly, in the past 2019, at least 810 people tried to reach the United States and stayed in the attempt, because their hearts stopped pumping because of this. It is and it should be shocking how people prefer to take risks of this magnitude to stay in their place of origin, living as they live, without money and repressed. Although migrants can be indirect factors to promote xenophobia or can generate uncertainty in many and diverse aspects, they can also help enrich the culture of a country or even, as in the United States, generate or be fundamental in the GDP of that country. So much so that if all the immigrants were expelled from the United States, that country would lose 10% of its GDP, which is equivalent between $1,500 and $2,000 million a year. It is difficult to think how migrants in many parts of the world who help certain countries in their economy are at this moment being abandoned by the governments and left adrift with almost zero possibilities of earning money or having access to hospitals and the country's resources in general, in view of this worrying situation of the COVID-19. Finally, just because you are an immigrant does not mean that you are inferior to the citizens of the country to which you migrated. We are all the same inside. We are all brothers and sisters. We are all human.